Hello guys and welcome back to another video. If you have not seen the video of how to cut an agbada, I'll put a link in the description below, or you can check the channel to see that. Here is the embroidery we do after cutting and after finishing the agbada itself, after cutting the agbada. So first and foremost, all you have to do is just to iron all these edges, make sure they are smooth as possible. Use a steam iron, or if you don't use a steam iron, just sprinkle some water on it and do it. So the next thing we're going to do now is to attach our sleeve extension. In the video we cut out our sleeve, so that's why we're having two sleeves on this one, the one that will be at the right and the one that will be at the left. So we have two sleeves right now. So I'm going to make a notch at the sleeve. As you can see, I'm just going to make a notch at the edge of the sleeve, just like that. So I'm going to attach it to each of the side of the agbada front itself. So let's go to sewing machine and do the coupling. So as you can see, in order to do the sleeve, the very first thing I'll be doing now is to place my fabric. That's my sleeve. The right side of the fabric itself, the right side must be facing the front. Okay, so the right side will be facing me, while the notch area will be the one at the sewing machine. So I'm going to place my front, which is the embroidery side, on top of it. Basically because I want the stitch to be at the top of agbada itself. I want the stitch to be in the front. So I'm going to overlap at the top of the agbada itself, which is the front. So here from the particular notch, I'm going to start my stitch, because so that I'll be having the same, exactly the same length after stitching. Or if I'm going to have maybe something extra, I'll be having the same extra in the front and the same extra in the back. That's why I'm starting my stitch from the middle, which is the shoulder part actually. So I believe you guys can understand. So as you guys can see, I'll make sure I'm not stitching the entire fabric together. I'll be leaving pieces that I'll be using for a turn up in the front, just like a half of an inch in the front, so that I can use as a turn up. So you're going to do this when you're stitching. Make sure you are not dragging the fabric. It is very important so that your clothes will be balanced. As you can see, just stitch it straight and release your hand. So you're going to do exactly the same thing to both sleeves. So just leave this one straight and I will be doing the front also. So after you're done joining the sleeve, just open it just like this. Open it like this. You can see we have a little bit of excess at that end part. So that's why I join it from the shoulder, so that I'll be able to trim it off. So you're going to start your turn up just like this. Just fold it like this. You can see that. Very, very, very simple. You're going to start your stitch. Make sure you're stitching at the tip of the fabric itself. Make sure your hand is very straight. And whenever you're stitching it, make sure your hand is straight. That is important. Make sure you're not dragging the fabric. That part is very important, because if you're dragging the fabric, it will make the results looking ruffling and not straight after ironing. So just stitch it straight, just like that. You can see what we have so far. You can see you still have a little bit of ruffle, but after ironing it's going to be balanced. But in order to help that, make sure you're not dragging the fabric while you're stitching. That is the logic. that's the scope. So you're going to do exactly the same thing on the second sleeve also. Before we do the sleeve, before we're going to close the sleeve allowance. So as you can see, after finishing, I will advise you strongly to iron it from the inside first. This is very, very important. Iron it from the inside first, then you're going to iron it from the outside with a steam iron. So the next thing we're going to do now is the sleeve, which is the sleeve itself. We're going to need to close it. So from the inside, which is the wrong part of the fabric, which is the inside of the agbada itself, from the hem, not the lower part, I'm talking about the sleeve. So we are going to fold what we added before. During the cutting, I added an extra 3 inches, right? So I'm going to fold in the 3 inches. As you can see, At this place, I'm just going to fold in my 3 inches. At this side, I'm just going to fold in my 3 inches, just like that. Give it, make sure you get your accurate allowance that you added. You're going to fold half of an inch at the hem, which will be the one inside. So make sure you give it a good ironing. Make sure it is balanced very well. And you're going to put your hemming gum. The reason for the hemming gum is after the stitch, so that you will not be having a rumbling on the stitch. So the hemming gum will help you make it relaxed very well. You will not be having all those shuffling on your stitch that used to show on the stitch. That is very important. Because the hemming gum will give it a little bit of firmness when you're about to like sew it. So as you guys can see, I already ironed this and I already fold the edge. I believe you guys can see. So the next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to input the gum and I'm going to iron it. So I'll be able to like stitch the edge of the fabric. And when you look at the stitches in the front, it's going to be very smooth. That is the reason why we're using an hemming gum at this side. So that's very important. So as you can see, this is what we're going to have after stitching. After sewing our sleeve, this is what you're going to have. You can see how smooth it is. And when you look at the back also, you can see how smooth the stitches are. Give it a thorough ironing and make sure it is very smooth. So the next thing we're going to do now is to close the hems out. So to do that, all I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it to the wrong side of the fabric. I'm going to be holding the two sleeves just like this. At this side, as you can see, make sure that side is straight. As you can see, just like that. I'll be stitching in 3 inches. As you remember earlier that we added an extra 3 inches to our length. So I'll be sewing in 3 inches. So from this side, you're going to mark in your 3 inches. So just mark your 3 inches. And I'll be stitching an extension of 7.5. So I'm going to mark 7.5 at this side. So basically it's supposed to be a maximum of 7 inches, but because of the sleeve's length, I'm sewing a maxi agbada, so I'll be using 7.5 inches. Not much different actually. So I'm going to stitch from there to that other side. So I'm just going to connect the two dots together and I'm going to stitch it. And I'm going to do the same thing at the other sleeve also, so we can close our hem step by step, as you can see. So now I already stitching their side. You can see what we're going to have at the hem part. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to fold the edge. Very simple. If you follow this video step by step, you're going to get exactly the same result. I'm going to iron the edge and I'm going to fold all this hemming part. I'm going to fold half of an inch and iron it. Then I'm going to put in hemming gum also at that side before I'll be stitching it. And I'm going to do the same thing at the other side also. Just as simple as that. So as you can see, this is what we're going to have. So I already stitched the two sides. You can see the space in between, which is the 7.5 in which you sew. So that is all. I just gum it now. So the next thing I'm going to do now is just stitch it all round. And after that, all you're going to do is just give it a full ironing, and that is all about it. So this is the finishing. This is the total. I believe you guys enjoyed the video. You can see how smooth the stitches are. All you just have to do now is just to give it a full ironing. Take your time, iron it with a steam iron. Make sure it is very balanced. So that's how to make an agbada step by step. If you like the video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And if it's your first time on the channel, make sure you subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on our next video. Peace and enjoy yourself.